Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the September meeting of the Pickens County Republican Party. After a long vacation, I guess you could say, a long break, we are finally back here in person. Thank everybody here in the room for showing up tonight and coming out. We appreciate it, and all you watching on live stream or on the video. But as we always do, we'll start with a prayer tonight. So if you'd please stand and bow your heads. Leon, you're much better at this. Please.
Good evening. Y'all going to have to forgive me because I have a sense of humor. I hope y'all don't mind because after I get through praying, I'm accustomed to taking up an offering. So I'm going to get somebody with a hat on to walk around. No, I'm just kidding. Let us bow our heads. Eternal everlasting Father, we thank you so much for so many things. Words cannot explain, our mind cannot express the gratitude and the gratefulness that we have towards you and you alone. We ask your favor in everything that we do, Lord, because when your favor is involved, we know that everything's going to be all right. We ask your favor upon our president, all our political leaders. We ask your favor to those that we really don't appreciate their concept of their ideas. But when your favor is involved, we know that still everything's going to be all right. So we ask your favor upon this meeting this afternoon and the things that we do. In the name of Christ we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Leon. I started to do the prayer myself, and then I looked and saw Leon, and I figured that would be about like me trying to take Richard Petty for a ride in a car, you know. So, Pledge of Allegiance, if you would. One more time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Republic. We are not a democracy. We are a republic. Couldn't resist. I guess we'll get straight to it tonight. We've got 3 people to speak and limited time. So, Travis, if you would join me up here. Travis Alexander is a director. I'm sorry. Certainly. Senator Rex Rice. Mr. Robinson. Let me, so this will be on the tape. If you don't have a mic, they won't hear it.
Yeah, I want to introduce Al Robinson. Al is from Easley. He's been here a long time. He actually left during the Bush administration and went to Washington, the Department of Labor. Isn't that correct, Al? Was up there for a long time. He is now back in Easley. But when I got elected to the State House in 1994, one of the first questions I asked was, how do you find the State House? Because I had never been there before. So Al drew me a map, and he was my seatmate for a number of years in Columbia. He served as a former member of the House of Representatives here, and he is back in Easley. I think he's back here to stay. You know the name, the Robinsons. Matter of fact, this facility we're in, the Robinsons Funeral Home, the clothing store. But Al is here, and I want to welcome him tonight, and I want y'all to welcome him because I believe you're going to see Al back involved in this community. So thank you, Al, for coming out.
And we welcome your return. And some of the first clothes I can ever remember going and having bought for me was from your dad and my grandfather. My grandfather and your father were friends. When I was a little boy, my grandpa had a car lot at the bottom of First Street down here.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to.
Senator Rice is welcome to come up here and take the microphone anytime he wants it. You will hear no complaint from me. And thank you for coming, Mr. Robinson. Thanks for coming, Al. Now, back to Travis. I just want to make it clear to everybody watching on the video that Travis is here purely as the director of elections to explain the new rules changes, and the election this year is going to be different than it ever was. He's not here in support of the Republican Party or any candidate. He's here to support all voters knowing how to get to the polls and vote correctly.
Thank you, sir. Sound a little drained. On the 19th, we started our UOCAVA Citizens Overseas. Had to make sure those ballots got out properly. The state had a new system. I got about 85 of those ballots out. Had another 24 had to do the old-fashioned way with PDF files and things of that nature. So I've been working on that diligent this past week. So your absentee by mail. We're trying to recommend that every citizen in Pickens County get those absentee by mail applications in by September 30th. We're trying to say that because we want to do October 5th. We've already talked to the director of the United States Postal Service in this region, and he asked me, he said, how many ballots you gonna get out? I said, I have 5,600 applications. He said, you're gonna get 5,000 out in one day? And I said, yes, I will get 5,000 ballots out on the first day, October 5th. So we trying to tell everybody that got those applications in by September 30th, we will get those in. Now the new law, just for this election, absentee by mail stops, if you're mailing in that application, stops October 24th. So keep that in mind, October 24th. So typically it was the 4 days before the election, that's by state law, but October 24th is that date. After that, if you want to get an absentee application for a loved one, you're going to have to walk it into our office. Now, if that person comes to our office, we're going to be absentee in-person voting during that time period, so I'm going to try to, convince that person to go ahead and vote absentee in person. We got 4 places this year. Y'all may not know, or you may do know, this is my first time starting here in June as the director here, so I came in the fire, and we just had that one place open. Now I'm got ambitious. A couple months later, we're going to have 4 places open at one time. So our county office at 222 McDaniel will be open October 5th. In the city of Pickens, in case we get kind of jam-packed at the county office, you can go over to the city of Pickens library on the Village Branch Library. I think it's on Catherine Street. You can go over there and vote October 5th from 9:30 to 4. Our main office is going to be 8:30 to 5 like normal. And then starting 2 weeks before the election on October 19th, we will have the Easley Library and the Central Clemson Library open also. I know a lot of you may have looked in the news, you heard the catchphrase drop boxes. I don't like the word drop boxes because it's almost like you're gonna drop it into a box. If you come to one of our satellite offices or if you come to our main office and you're bringing an absentee ballot, a poll clerk or absentee clerk will review that ballot. Make sure your signature is on there, because if I get it and it doesn't have a signature on it, I can't count it. All right? As of now, it's a fluid situation with the signature, the witness signature, but as of now, the witness signature is required. So we're going to also be looking for that witness signature on that ballot. If it's not, we're going to ask those poll clerks, like if somebody try to drop that ballot off and run off and we don't see those items on there, we have the applications. We're going to make contact. We're going to call. Say, hey, you need to come down here. This is missing. All right? And we did have maybe 2 or 3 during the June election that we called and contacted. They didn't come. We could not count those votes because they did not meet the requirements for the absentee mail-in ballots. Also, with the law changed, everybody in South Carolina, due to a state of emergency, is able to vote in the election. I did have a person call me and said my website wasn't updated properly. Everybody can vote absentee. I said the same rules apply, just the reason is different. All right. So if you tell me you're on vacation, if you tell me you're 65 or older, if you don't meet one of those requirements and you tell me due to state of emergency, that's the reason that I will put on the application. But it only applies for the November 2020 election. So I'm trying to get that information out. If y'all can help me with that, it would be a great help. All right. So that's our absentee by mail. Talked about our satellite offices and what they will be doing. Absentee in person, again, we will still be trying to follow our social distancing. If you don't want to wear the mask, you do not have to, but we're going to try to have it taped down where you have a 6-foot distance in those precincts. And if you do have a mask, we'll require all poll managers to either have a mask or a face shield when they're in that 6-foot radius of another person. We have a lot of our citizens that are high risk that will come, and we're going to tell them they can vote curbside, but we also, if they want to come inside, we'll make them feel safe coming inside also. All right? Absentee by mail, absentee in person. And then another point, if you're going to wait to cast your vote on Election Day, we will have a couple changes in some of our precincts. I'm going to upload that to our PickensElections.org website. I should have that on there this week of our updated precincts. on our old, we're going to be using the same precincts that we used back in June. And if you, for instance, if you go to the Foothills or Clemson Downs, those are some of the precincts we can't use because of the retirement homes. We're going to actually go to each of those precincts the day before, post the correct address of the place that you need to vote at, because you have to vote at the precinct that you're registered. Even if that precinct moved to another location, you have to vote at that precinct. And I try to tell people, do not bring your absentee ballot to the precincts to try to drop off. State law, we can't count it, all right? If you do have an absentee ballot and it's November 3rd, bring it to our office by 7 p.m. We can count it, okay? Make sure. We need about I want to say right now, to date, we did a good push in getting our poll workers in. We had about 196 for the June election. The state allows us 500, so we were kind of way off that number. I'm trying to get at least 6 to 7 poll managers per precinct. So we're about 20 off right now. And I've told some people that are with political party here and other political parties and other organizations, and some that are working with candidates. I said, if you're working with a candidate and you want to work, you will work at a precinct where that candidate's name is not on the ballot. That's the state law. All right, if you are of a particular political party, you have to be nonpartisan on the day of the election. And also, if I try to tell my clerks especially, you got your, maybe your paraphernalia, you may have a bumper sticker or whatever. Don't park that car right in the front door of the precinct, all right? You may have to park on the side. You can keep your bumper sticker on. You have to mess up your paint, but just park it on the side. And the reason is, maybe I'm naive, but I think that most people, if you can come out to a precinct at 6 a.m. in the morning and stay till approximately 8 in the morning, bring your own lunch, or the crew might bring their own meal, and you get paid a whopping back in the day it was $135. That's training, 3-hour training included. You have to be a dedicated citizen wanting to help the voting process. And that's how I got involved into this. I started back in probably the 08 election, and I was teaching, and I'm thinking this is gonna be great. And then all of a sudden, I had 10 minutes to eat my lunch, and that line was all day long. But the thing about it, I was able to assist people with this democratic voting process. And that got me involved and got me to where I'm at today. All right. I don't know if you want any questions or.
Does anybody have a question?
Yes, sir.
Let me bring you the mic, Rex.
Okay.
Travis, thank you. And I do appreciate all you've done in short order to get the primary taken care of. Y'all did a great job. One question I do have, and I know the answer to this, but maybe you ought to talk about it. The process of the absentee mail-in ballots, how those have to be open, because what y'all have to do on election day is a pretty tough job.
Good, thank you. So, in accordance to the law that was passed, I'm hoping this could be like a law forever, but it was that you could only open that ballot the day of the election. So imagine open 5,000 ballots on the day of the election, plus, y'all might not know, but at 7 o'clock, all the poll clerks call in. If you're in line, you have a problem with your address, you're calling in, and I have a staff of 3 people, and I got to figure out who's going to open those ballots. So this law now allows us to open the outside ballot on Sunday. I don't think I'm going to get up at 7 a.m., but I will go there on Sunday, and the state didn't have enough funds. We have a letter opener now. So trust me, that you wouldn't imagine.
Praise the Lord.
Yes, he gave me favor. But imagine going through those 2,500 ballots with a letter opener. And luckily, the board that came on board, I want to tell you, every last one of them were helping with this election. If they did not help, the June election would not have got complete. All right, so if any of you are able to help, we can use that help. But we're able now to open Sunday. So Sunday, I'll probably go through with some other workers, and we'll probably open it outside. We have to separate that ballot. So now that person's vote is secret. We can't tell the name from the ballot. Now, when the ballot comes in, we electronically scan it in. Now, if you're going to one of those drop-off places at the library, clerk or one of the clerks will have to bring it in to us so we can scan it in. You can go to scgov, scvotes.gov, scvotes.gov, and you can actually click a link says, check my absentee ballot. You can check when we scanned your application in. You can check when we mailed out your ballot. And you can check when we scan your ballot into our system.
One reason that the outside ballot has to stay in place, you've got an outside ballot, outside envelope and inside envelope. One reason it has to stay till that point in time is anybody that wants to challenge that ballot can do it up to that point. After that, once you start opening, the candidate, if somebody says that guy doesn't live here anymore,
Yes.
they no longer can be challenged at that point. And that's why you have to wait till that time to do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we will, as the ballots are scanned in per day, we're going to have those ballots separated by date. So if there is a challenge in place, we'll at least know what date we scan that person's ballot in, and we can locate that challenged ballot. And if you've never been to a challenge, if you challenge a person, we will give you the slip that you will come into I think it's be on Friday at 1 p.m. You can actually come into the hearing, and you will bring your proof in of the challenge, and we will present that to the board. Okay?
Travis, I got a question along the same lines. If somebody sends that ballot in and does not put it in the inside envelope and you open it, is that ballot thrown out?
The ballot has to be in the ballot herein envelope.
But if it's not in the second envelope, then that ballot gets thrown out. Yeah, there's two envelopes. You open the first one, then you wait until 7 o'clock to open the second one. If you open the first one and you've just got a ballot.
That ballot will probably be presented to the board for review.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I understood that they would be thrown out, but.
Yeah. The reason why I'm kind of hesitant, I never had that happen. We have the instructions inside of the envelope. If it does happen, again, any type of thing that is something dealing with the law, I take that, put it to the side, and present that to the board. Now, I will give a suggestion to the board in reference to that, especially if it's one envelope, one ballot, we probably can assume that that one ballot came from this person. So I'll give the recommendation, but the board will make the final decision on that.
Anybody else?
Right.
Okay, no. So hold on just a second. You won't hear it on there if you don't have the mic.
When you open those ballots, who opens the ballots? The poll workers, or how?
Right now, we have a Pitney Bowes 450. Pitney Bowes, it's an electronic opener. So,
It actually opens the ballots and the one inside too?
I mean, I've had to pull them out, but
Oh, okay.
yes, we have staff. The reason why I said we actually had to open and pull out, but yes, we have our staff and our, we will have poll managers actually inside our office. We have a fail-safe clerk that'll be inside our office and also on the direction.
Fail-safe clerk, is he like an observer?
No, they actually have to take the poll manager classes and everything and have to sign the oath.
As far as the fail-safe, do you have an observer there looking at the ballots? Now, you said, as far as you know, you've never known any ballot to not be sealed and in the other ballot. Now, I'm not disputing what you say, but that's hard for me to believe. All the ballots, not one of them were incorrect. So my question is there an independent observer standing there watching after it goes through that machine and see if that ballot is still sealed? Is there an independent person standing there watching that? If not, I'd like to volunteer for that.
Okay. Well, you got to understand how the process works.
I'm serious.
The process works is once you separate the ballot, you put the envelopes over here, you put the ballot herein envelopes over here. You won't count those until the 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Those will be locked and secured. So that separation part is already taking place.
So when they're separated, that's when you determine to keep it and show it in front of the board, like you said.
Yes. There was one that it was two ballots, again, husband and wife. They went ahead and tried to put that two ballots in one envelope. that had to be presented to the board.
I understand those states that happens, and I was wondering, just how secure that would be, and if there would be an independent person there monitoring that. I mean, I'm just saying, just a question I'm asking.
You can observe, yes, sir.
I can?
Yes, sir. It's public, yes.
Well, I'll see you that day.
Yes, sir.
Is that gonna be on Friday?
Observe, though, let's be clear, if I'm just, since you
Observe.
said that. Observe
Yeah.
is, you gotta be quiet. You can't interfere with them. You can't say nothing, but you can stand there and watch.
Yes.
That's it.
Can you point out and say,
You can come tell me, but. Yes.
Right. Any candidate can, Rex just said, any candidate can have someone there.
It's just like being a poll watcher at a precinct. Yeah. You-
that would, I think would help y'all in case you miss one. Right?
While most of the people that work with me are nonpartisan, guaranteed. All right, Mr. Ron Alexander, who we're not related, but Mr. Ron Alexander was brought over from Roads and Bridges. He actually was helping out with that back in June, and also the librarians that we had. But the crew that works with me that kind of oversees that, we make sure. And it's not done in a one person instance. You got to do that with a team, because and even in a precinct, if you're going to request to get help at a precinct, you can tell everybody, go ahead and request 2 poll managers. If you got curbside voting, request 2 poll managers. That gives that, now you got that protection there where somebody is not a he said, she said. Now you got those 2 poll managers there also. Yes, sir.
All righty, if that covers it, then we're going to move along to the next one, our next speaker, and Travis. It was a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for the job you're doing. You're more than welcome. This young man is Ben McCrae. He is with the Victory Tour.
Victory
The
campaign. Yes.
I was thinking about a concert I went to one time.
Yeah.
Anyway, he is with the Victory campaign, with the Trump campaign. He's campaigning for all Republicans in the state.
Right. State.
Not
Nationally.
one more than the other, really, but
Right.
rather mostly the national campaign. Anyway, I'll quit jabbering. Ben is here for one thing, he brought us some signs, some free signs. So on your way out, if you'd like a Trump sign or a Lindsey Graham sign, they're here. He'd like to put some at your store for a distribution point, if you don't mind. Let people come by and pick them up here in Easley. So you can go by Steve's place and pick up a sign, or send your friends there to get a Lindsey or a Trump sign there too. But all of that, let me get out of the way and turn this over to Ben for a minute.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'll keep this brief, but quick show of hands, who's tired of seeing Jamie Harrison ads on TV? Anyone who didn't, I'm kind of concerned. With that being said, we're 40 days out until the election. I mean, this is, from my perspective, the most critical election in American history. I'm only 23. I didn't grow up during the days of the Soviet Union. So seeing this, where our country is, it's quite concerning. Going off of that, it's important that we have grassroots efforts in our local area. I'm working out of here, Oconee, Anderson, Greenwood, Abbeville, McCormick, Lawrence, and we need volunteers. And that's why I'm here, is I'm trying to get people to go knock doors, make the phone calls, and do what's necessary so we can get the word out there to vote red. Because the way our country's going, it's not looking good. The civil unrest in these cities is something that I'm quite concerned with, and I'm sure each and every one of you are as well. I'm here to help spread the word to vote Duncan, vote Graham, vote Trump. And they're the right people who will be in the right places to make the right decisions for our country. With that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions you all may have, and please help sign up for our volunteer outreach list. Thank you.
Any questions? And I'd like to thank Esther for coming. Esther's the first time told me when she got here, she has not been involved in politics before, but this has got her worried, and she wants to do something to help, and she's on the list.
She was. She showed up to the phone bank in Anderson 2 weeks ago. Yes, ma'am. So she's quite the
Bless
phone
your
caller.
heart. Thank you. Yeah, Esther. Yes, Alan.
I want to talk about your Trump signs.
All right.
I've got a farm over here. Most of you know where it's at, behind Rock Springs Church. Well, I put 4 Trump signs out. Lasted 2 days, they're gone. 2 days ago, I put out a Trump sign and a Duncan sign. Well, the Duncan sign's still up there, the Trump sign's gone, so I'm gonna need some more of your signs. But just be aware, there's some people out there snatching Trump signs. If you put one in your yard, you might wanna get some, you can buy this spray over at Tractor Supply, and it's called Repel, and you can spray that sign down, and when they put it in the car, they're probably gonna be throwing it out the window going down the road. But anyway, I just wanted to say I appreciate you, and I need to get some of those signs.
Yes, sir, please. I brought plenty for everyone here. And going off of that, yeah, there are groups of people going around the upstate specifically, and in the low country mainly, going around ripping Trump signs. And if you ever hear any of that, please contact your local law enforcement, because that can't be happening. I will leave this name undisclosed, but we had one constituent in Greenville put needles on her sign, so if anyone gets any wise ideas, you didn't hear it from me.
Anybody else like to make a comment or have a question? I do. Most all of you know how to get in touch with me, and I've got Ben's contact information. So if you need more signs, and I'll be in touch with Ben, and we'll get some to put at Steve's office. I'll talk to Jeff Duncan's people. Jeff's a good friend, and I'll see what I can do about getting some Jeff Duncan signs too. And I'll try to get that done by at least by the end of next week. With my work schedule, I got a couple of days a week where I can actually.
We have a new shipment
do
of Duncan signs coming into the state. We just got a new shipment coming in.
Okay, good
Yes,
deal.
sir.
But anyway, me or Steve are a contact point after tonight to get a sign.
Yeah. And please feel free to come ask me any questions you may have. Thank you.
And thank you for coming, Ben. It's a pleasure to have you.
Of course.
And now we come to our key speaker tonight, a keynote speaker, you want to call it that? He drove all the way up here from Sumter. We went to an executive committee meeting, what has that been, about 6 weeks ago now, a month ago? And we ended up at the same table together. That is right. At the executive committee meeting in Columbia. This guy is just a pleasure to talk to, and if I've heard him speak a couple of times at state conventions. Anyway, you'll soon see why I invited him to come here, and he drove all the way up here from Sumter, so if you'd welcome him, I would appreciate it.
Good evening. I hope that y'all don't throw any rocks at him when I leave. Give him about 3 minutes. I'll drive extremely fast, and I'll be out of here before anybody throw any rocks, anything like that. First thing I want to do, is there any church folks in here? Okay. I'm in good company. My name is Leon Wynn, what's left of me. I'm a black, blood-bought, born-again Baptist preacher. I get excited as Baptist preachers generally get excited. I'm from, actually, this might not set good with you, I'm actually from southeast Georgia, a small town called Midway / Briar Bay, where alligators, mosquitoes, and rattlesnake grow. I'm from the swamp. I've been in South Carolina 46 years, so all of my adult life is in South Carolina. I left straight out of high school, went into the Air Force. This is my lovely wife, Christine. We have been married 25 years, so give me a round of applause for putting up with her that long. Most of you men know what I'm talking about. Y'all don't say nothing because y'all got to go home. I got to ride before I get home, so I'll stop. Let me ask you this. Church folks, anybody here want to know how this black man, and I think y'all notice I'm black, became a Republican? Yeah. Now y'all just some nosy church folks. Church folks need to know stuff. Let me tell you what happened, and we're going to get on into, because I'm not speaking to you on behalf of my campaign, because none of you can vote for me. You can contribute it. How I became a Republican. I did not ever consider in my life being a Republican. I never thought about it. I had no idea of it. I just didn't like them Republicans because I heard so many bad things about Republicans. Like so many black folks here about Republicans. It was the Bass Festival in Clarendon County, big event, yearly event. my youngest daughter, Madison, wanted to drive the golf cart in the Bass Festival. I had no intentions of going to the Bass Festival. I had no desire going to the Bass Festival, but she wanted to drive it, and she was about 4, maybe 5 years old. And I went to the Bass Festival, checked to see how do you get in, and they told me because I was a pastor in the church, I didn't need nothing. So I got there that early that morning, saw some black guys putting some things together and getting their cars off the trailers, off the cars and stuff off the trail. I got my golf cart off the trail, and Madison was driving, and I said, where do you go line up? And the guy said, you got to have a number. A number? I didn't have a number. So I did what black folks do. Do y'all know our secret? I told y'all know. I went to try to get some information. So I went and I saw some white folks over there, some white ladies doing some stuff. And, you know, white folks supposed to know what they're doing. So, and they looked like they knew what they were doing. So I went over there to the white people, and I said, white folks know what they were doing. So I went over there, and I said, ma'am, I said, what do I do to get a number? She said, I don't know. And I'm saying, you white. You supposed to know. So she said, what are you trying to do? And I said, well, my daughter wanted to drive in the Bass Festival, and her name was Colleen Payne. She was running against Jim Clyburn for the 6th district at the time. So she said to me, she said, if you pass out flags for me, I'll let you get in with my group. I said, white woman, I'm not passing no flags out for you against Jim Clyburn. I'm not going to do that. This is no exaggeration. This is God heaven truth. If God took me away from this moment, I'm telling y'all nothing but the truth. She put her hand on my chest and she said, why are you a Democrat? For the first time in my life, I was challenged about why I was a Democrat. I've told my children over the years, don't follow the crowd. I've told my children, you need to stand on your own 2 feet. Use your mind, make your own decision. And here I am, their father, not doing what I've taught them to do. I didn't know why I was a Democrat because I was indoctrinated to be a Democrat. I'm black. Black folks are supposed to be Democrat. That's the biggest lie that's ever been told to the black community. But I was a Democrat. Lo and behold, I was passing out flags and became her campaign representative throughout that whole ordeal. Hence, that's how I became a Republican. Now, being a Republican, I want y'all to understand this, in an area, I'm in the 36th district, which is dominated by Democrats. I am the only known Republican in an area where there's nothing but Democrats. And y'all ought to realize what I go through each and every day. So many people hate Donald Trump. And I went to an NAACP meeting that I was invited to get beat up. I was invited there to get beat up. But that's not the easiest thing you will ever try to do. They called me up. It was my time. It was just like this. You're sitting there, and those of you that speak in public, you're sitting there, and it seemed like there's so many people ahead of you, and the next thing you're the next person getting up. So it was my time to get up, and they were sitting there, and the ladies and the people were folding their hand, and I don't know if y'all ever been to a NAACP meeting, but all the people are black. In case y'all didn't know that. I'm here to educate you now. All the folks are black. So I stood up and I said, how many of y'all don't like Republicans? They raised their hand. And I said, y'all are Christian people, y'all don't like me. And this pastor, well, we like you, but we don't like them Republicans. And I said to them with zeal and enthusiasm and with a mind of sincerity, I said, before I leave here tonight, every one of y'all going to be Republicans. And they looked at me with eyes of content. And they folded their arms and they said, bring it on, brother. And I said to them, I'm going to ask you 3 questions only. And I want a yes or no out of you. This is not a question. This is going to be the statement. I said, I know all of y'all are Christians. I know all of you believe in God. I'm not worried about that because you came up under that. And they said, yes. Here's my question. Which one of you believe in same-sex marriage? Raise your hand. Not a soul raised their hand. Question number 2, my brothers and sisters. Which one of you believe in abortion? Nobody raised their hand. Question number 3. Which one of you think the government ought to control your life and everything you do? Nobody raised their hand. I said, welcome to the Republican Party. I was at church, and this is when I was getting ready to run for the Senate, and this is one that I would be remiss if I didn't share it with you. I preached that Sunday, as I generally do. And I said that Sunday after everything was over. I didn't want to say this before I preached because it would have distorted the people's mind. They would have gotten their mind off Jesus and what I was doing. Everything always got to be about Jesus. And I said, I need everybody to stay here. Church was full of people. And I said, I need to tell you all something. I said, I'm going to run for public office. The whole congregation applauded their pastor. I felt like somebody. They applauded. Margie Spann, one of my members, said, Pastor, when you could do anything you put your mind to. I thank God for that. And I said, but there's another part to that. They did what church folks do, and they got quiet just like you are right now. And I said, I'm Republican. They said, oh, no, oh, no, oh, no. 98% of those folks supports me now. 98% of my congregation support me. Not only that, every meeting, everything that I do, I have total support. One of the things that we advocate to do is to give people values, Christian values. If you talk to black folks about Christian values, you will get them to understand you're more a Republican than you're a Democrat. And one of the things that you be careful about saying now, because when you're black like me, you can get away with some things with black folks. I get away with things y'all can't get away with. Is that true enough? Y'all, no, none of y'all know me, but I don't sugarcoat nothing. I tell it just the way it is for my southern dialect, just the way it is. I tell you, I can get away with things, and I can get away with something that said, you cannot be a Christian and be a Democrat. It's spiritually, theoretically, humanistically impossible. You cannot be a Christian and believe in values that will kill unborn children. You just cannot believe it. You cannot be a Christian and believe in two men being married. You cannot believe that being a Christian and a child of God. They cannot argue those points. Here's where we are now. And something, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. We are in a great civil unrest. Black folks, white folks, crime and violence, riots, police killing black people. And y'all doing what Christian white folks do, you got real quiet. It's happening. And you're figuring out what this black man about to say. Well, everything I'm going to say is going to be the truth. Crime is happening. There is racial discourse in America. But in the Christian godly community, every Christian believes in Christ, love, and doing what's right. In this arena, you have a group of people called Antifas. And I think I pronounced it right. Antifas, forgive me, Antifas. These people are causing more chaos in the black community than people want to admit. Some of the crimes that they're doing, black folks are not doing it. It's those Natifas. I don't even try to pronounce it right. Whatever they are. They're causing all the crime and violence, and black folks are getting accused of it. One of the things that I want y'all to do, and I want you to believe in, that there's only one difference in you and I, and that is in the pigmentation of our skin, the texture of our hair. We are all God's children. There's no separation in us, but ideologies, concept, and what we believe. And I believe that the Republican Party is the party that supports humanity, not because you're black, not because you're white, because it is the right thing to do. We need to unite together as Republicans. Get the black community to understand we are not fighting you. We're embracing all people because everybody ought to believe in one thing, and that's the true and living God and what is right for everybody. And when we do that, we will bring a change. But let me share this with you. I do not, when I'm talking to black folks, I do not try to get them to be a Republican. Well, when I'm the second vice chair of South Carolina State Republican, that's my job, to get them to change the party. If I can get you to change your ideology, you will come around and vote the way of the party. If I can get you to understand that what the Democrats are doing with entitlement is hurting the black community more than it's helping it, it will bring a change in your life. If I can get you to understand that hard work pays off, education pays off, pulling yourself up from out of despair pays off, you will be a part of the Republican Party. Republican Party is a party of liberation. Republican party of unity. And I'm not saying that to make y'all feel good. I'm saying that because I believe in it. Y'all look at me. I honestly believe in it. Allow me to reiterate. I honestly believe in it. I have people that say to me, when? Oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm running for the 36th seat. I'm running for a Senate seat in South Carolina. And here's what I'm running against. I'm running against a group that has been in that seat since God said, let there be light. And he cut the switch and here come them Democrats walking with them absentee ballots going to the poll. And here's what we're dealing with. They say to me, because of what's going on, when I will vote for you, because they're generally like, when I will vote for you, as long as you don't vote for Trump. Y'all listen to me. You will be shocked on how much I get that. If you vote for Trump, then we're not going to support you. If you vote for Trump, we're not going to support you. Now, I said found out y'all were church folks, right? Right? So y'all want to know what I tell them, right? Because you're church folks, and church folks are nosy. First thing I share with people, and what will help you, is being blatantly honest. You will not know who I vote for anyhow. You won't. Am I making this up? You will not. When I go in that booth, my wife is not with me. I've had my children there, but you will not be in that booth. It will just be me. Vote for your principles. Vote for what is right. Vote for America. Vote for a better country, and you will vote Republican, because that's what I believe in. My family called me one time when I was running, and they said, Leon, we're going to denounce you out of the family. You can't come to the family reunion no more because you joined the Republican Party. I go to the family reunion, and I done converted some of them. I'm infectious. I'm like that, like that germ you can't get rid of. They come to me, I'll get you hooked, because the truth, Scripture says the truth shall set you free. Ladies and gentlemen, in this world, we have to look at the facts. They're going to be rioting tonight in, where is it at? Louisville. Chris, my wife's name is Christine. I had this conversation this morning about the law enforcement. Don't let me forget to talk about defunding the police. I was talking to Chris this morning about this situation, and no one was charged for the shooting. But people, y'all don't notice, I used to be a police officer, and I used to be a deputy sheriff. I graduated South Carolina Criminal Justice in 1975. I was a Columbia police officer. First and foremost, I'm not making light of what transpired. It was a horrible situation. And if you really look at it, everybody messed up. The police messed up. The people in the house messed up. And this is the results of everybody messing up. Now say to me, what are you talking about? Well, thank you for asking. They had a warrant to search the house for drugs. They were illegal. They had a law that should not have been. No knock. Y'all, I don't care if you black or white. Nobody ought to knock your door down and come into your house and you don't know what's going on. Y'all got to agree with that. All right. No knock warrant. Let's not debate it just yet. No knock warrant. They went in the house. Then the guy started shooting. Now you got a mess. The young lady got killed. Now you got a mess. When you get to the facts, I was not there, and neither were none of you. The facts give you the truth. And let me tell you about truth. Sometimes truth is ugly. In Clarendon County, we had a situation where a young white boy burnt the young black boy, I think he was 7, on the back with lighter fluid. Put it on him, and he got burned, third-degree burns on his back. It was about to explode. The sheriff of Clarendon County called me and asked me to get involved with the mother in the whole situation. Went and talked with the mother, looked her in the eyes, and I know this being live screened, so everything I'm telling you is nothing but the truth. This actually happened. Looked at the mother and said, I need you to do one thing for me. I need nothing but the truth. Nothing but the truth. Fast forward at that first setting, the first meeting, it was nothing but black folks there, the sheriff there, some deputies, and the black leaders in the community. And I was saying to them in the meeting, I said, we're going to get the facts. As God is my witness and my protector and my provider. I said, we're going to get to the facts. Let me know when my time runs out. We're going to get to the facts. Facts going to give you the truth. You may not like it, but the facts going to give you the truth. When we first met the first night, all of the black men that were in there, and I knew these guys, I knew these men, I knew them personally. Not one of them spoke to me outside because I said, we're going to get to the facts. They had already congealed in their mind that it was all race. Everything that happened ain't race. Some things just happen because it happened. The fast forward the story, we had another meeting. The solicitor was there. The sheriff was there. The mothers were there. The mother was there. Black leaders in the community was there. Come to find out in this conclusion, it was just an accident. The boys were playing, squirting water. The young white boy picked up a lighter fluid. The color wasn't off. The printing was off. It was just, he squirted. The grandfather was doing some welding. It sparked. He got caught on it. It burnt them. It was an accident. When they found out it was an accident, the same black men never came to Leon Wynn and said, when you were right and we were wrong. I don't need that. But at one setting, they came and talked to me for about an hour and a half. That was them saying, you were right. I don't always have to be right. But if you get the facts, you're going to always get the truth. Truth is not always pretty. It's not. If you ever been in anything, when you get to the truth, that's going to get to the facts, you get the truth. And it is ugly. But you got to have the truth. Once you face the truth, you can deal with it. And we go on and try not to make that mistake again. When we are dealing with all of the civil unrest, we have to do what we've been taught to do for years. And those of you that go to church, the Bible teaches the prayers of the righteous avail it much. This is a time that the nation ought to be praying. This is a time that the nation ought to come together. This is a time that we need to put color aside and put God first. If we learn to put God first, we won't have the problem that we have in this world. If we learn to put God first, people will not be fighting the way they are fighting on these streets. If we learn to put God first. I saw a sign on Facebook just the other day. Young lady had it. We don't need God in California. You better try to get God because that state is burning up. We need God everywhere. So, ladies and gentlemen, young and old as me, the Republican Party has a task. They're going to try to steal this election. Forgive me for not saying I was in Lexington County. In Clarendon County, we got something going on with the deputy director of the Clarendon County Voters Registration Office have filed charges against the director for illegal practices in the office. We're going through that right now. We have to come together as a people, black and white. White folks, y'all got a responsibility. You got one. Your responsibility is to show people love. Black folks got a responsibility. Show people love. And here's what Gardner C. Taylor said back in 1985 at the State Black Baptist Convention. I was there. Y'all ready for it? Say I'm ready. Gardner C. Taylor said it in this way. He said, black folks are watching white folks. White folks are watching black folks, while other folks are taking over the country. Other folks is taking over our country, and we are fighting each other. We got to stop the fighting and come together. I do not call myself an African American. I call myself, if you want to identify my color, Black American. We need to just be called Americans. All of us need to be just called Americans. If you're born in this country, you are an American. Let me share this with you. How many of y'all go to Bible study? I got a biblical question for you. Y'all ready for it? It's tough now. How many times the word slaves is a version of the Bible? Don't y'all go look on your phone. Don't y'all sneak and cheat now. How many times y'all think the word slaves is in the King James Version of the Bible? Say it again. 31. Anybody? He said like 300. And I want y'all to call me. I'll give you a card to prove that I'm wrong. One time. The word slaves, plural, twice. They didn't have slaves in the Bible. I got y'all. Man, what you talking about? Man, I got you at the edge of the seat. Now, I had you a little bored for a second, but now I got you at the edge of the seat. Let me tell you the story of it. Let's go back to a guy by the name of Joseph. Joseph went from being in the pit to second to Pharaoh. Am I correct? He went through ordeal. Joseph went through some things. He was lied on. He was mistreated. He was forgotten. And his brothers, those came, and he could have done some things to them, but Joseph embraced his brother and his family. We know the whole story. And here the conclusion of the story. And the Bible says, there arose a Pharaoh that knew not Joseph and put the people in bondage. The word actually is bondage. The Democratic Party is trying to put us back in bondage. In the way, in the ideology, in the way they think, want to put us in bondage. They have almost got the black community in bondage with entitlement. Entitlement is crippling the black community, and I'm bold in saying that. In bondage. But before, I'm going to cut off right now because y'all look like you're getting sleepy. Just like you do in church. That's why I want to know you church folks. I want to go back to you with this and get you to hormone in all that's going into the world. It's up to everybody to make a difference. You can make a difference. I can make a difference. Everybody can make a difference if you want to. I'm going to tell you, I'll do something that I guarantee you nobody in this place does, and I do it religiously. I do it unquestionably. I do it and not even realizing I'm doing it. I just do it naturally. I speak to everybody. Everybody. I walk in the bank, and you know how when you walk in the bank, this look like this used to be a bank. I know what a bank look like. I kind of sized it up a couple of times. I walk in the bank, and got a big vault there. Thank you, sir. I walk in the bank, and you know how it's on the first or the third, and all them people in there? Then you know that one lady, Miss Susie, get up, the little old lady, get up there and put a cane there, and she just talk and talk and talk. And you got to go to work. You're there 30 minutes. Like, good Lord, Miss Susie, will you just shut up and get on out of here? I got to go. And you don't want to leave, and 5 individuals come in behind you, and they're frustrated. You frustrated. Leon Wynn, dramatized, will walk in that bank. Just walk in and say to everybody, how's everybody doing? Loud and boldly. Somebody will be kind enough, how are you doing? And I always say, old country boy trying to make it. And it sparks a conversation. and now we're laughing and talking, and before you know it, you done went, Miss Susan's gone, she done gone about her business, and here I am at the thing, and everybody's pleasant because one person spoke. Just one person. It only takes one person to speak. I speak to everybody, even when they don't speak back. I'll speak. How are you doing? I'm not doing so good. And I'll go on about my business because I don't want that argument. Like, sometimes you need anybody can play, I don't know how to play poker, but I think there's a terminology. You need to know how to hold them and know how to fold them. I know how to fold. Oh, I don't want to hear all that now. But ladies and gentlemen, as a black man in South Carolina and a black man in a harsh Democrat area, it's tough. I'm not going to tell you it's not. But what in life that's worth it has not been? What in life that's worth it you didn't have to fight for? What in life that is worth it you didn't make sacrifice for? What in life that is worth it that you just had to stand for? I stand on my belief, and I stand on the God that I preach and teach about. It is tough, but we're going to accomplish it. Imagine taking a completely blue area and turning it red. First time in 50 some odd years. How great God is. He can make it happen. And I trust him. And I'll leave y'all with this. Senator, I'm probably the only man you would meet that's running for a particular political office that's going to tell you, I got all the money I need. Y'all give me a hand. I got all the money I need, but it's in your pocket. And when you get it out, I'd have all the money I need. God bless you. I hope I didn't bore you. I hope I said something that was meaningful. I hope I said something that would stir your mental psyche to get more aggressive in speaking and talking to the black community. Black folks are no different than you. White folks. Oh, defunding, please, thank you. Defunding police, I'll take about 3 minutes to do that. It is preposterous. It is ludicrous. It cannot happen. The people saying that know it cannot happen. You cannot do it. You would have total chaos worse than what it is now. They'll talk about defunding the peace, when somebody beating them half to death, who they calling? The police. People talk about stuff because it's not that it sounds good, but it causes a certain movement. And let me share this with y'all. Hate is a commodity. Hate pays. Al Sharpton, make sure people say that, see this. I don't like it. I don't. If I was in a group of black people, I would say the same thing. Because all you do is breathe hate and separation. And your breathing hate and separation get you funded. So it's all about money. I saw a clip where you getting on a private jet and you helping poor people, black people. Hate separate, but hate become a commodity. People pay for hate. You pledge, you send donation. They're paying millions of dollars for every person that committed a crime in Florida to vote. Set up a situation where people can get better jobs, educate them, so they can pay their own fines. Entitlement. Defunding the police, it's insane. And I'm an advocate for police officers. Are there some bad police officers? Yes, they are. But when they come out, deal with it. Oh, I'm also in South Carolina State Human Affairs Commission, and I brought that up in a commission, in a meeting to get the commission along with SLED to work together, sanctioned by the governor, that when there's a police shooting, black on white on black police shooting, that Human Affairs get involved. When Human Affairs get involved, because it's actually Human Affairs, the Human Affairs Committee go to the family with the investigation and take nothing but facts and the truth and say, Mrs. Wynn, this is what your husband did. He did this, which prompted that action. Now, these are the facts. Here's the video. Here are the facts. Before the public know anything, go to the family and say, this is what happened. Now, what do you think ought to happen? Before the public say anything, what do you think? Was he wrong? Was he wrong? If he's wrong, he's wrong. I know it's your husband, but he is wrong. He is at fault for what has happened. Amen. God bless you. Heaven smile upon you. I got a 3-hour drive to go back, but I'm going to wait around a little bit. Thank you, sir. Any question? Any question? Yes, sir.
Here you go. Hang on a second, Alan. I'll bring you the mic.
I didn't know I said anything to warrant a question.
I ought to just give you a mic, Alan, and let you stick it in your pocket.
I'd like to ask you about the state Republican Party and where it stands on closed primaries. We have a terrible problem in South Carolina because we don't have closed primaries. We have many, many legislatures down in Columbia that have an R beside their name, and it should be a D. And it's because we don't have closed primaries. Now, I know that the state Republican Party has had this on their plate for a long time, and it seems like it's being slow-walked. And I feel like the state Republican Party needs to present it to our legislatures, tell them this is what we need and this is what we want. Now, another thing is that in Pickens County, we're one of the most conservative counties in the state. And we have got the 2 top rhinos in Columbia because they run as Republicans and they're Democrats. It's a real problem. That is our problem in Columbia. So I just like to know what the state is going to do in the near future.
I cannot actually speak on the state behalf. I can speak as an advisor to you all. They have an elective office. Am I correct? That's your chairman right there. Your chairman get a petition, present it to the board, and start having them to vote on it. Challenge it. Sir, I don't know you, but you look like a gentleman. You look like an intelligent individual, and I can say whatever you got in life, you have to work for it. You have to fight for it. Yeah, but let's.
I know.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's build on that. With that same tenacity, that same strive that make you get up and go to work, make you do what you do. Y'all take that same tenacity, put it on him, and say we want it done, and let him start rallying support with the party to help get it done.
I don't have a problem. I've been a proponent of registration by party forever and a day myself. And we've had in the last 2 elections.
I'm really working him by moving. Go ahead.
In the last two Republican primaries, we've had a advisory question on the ballot. Drew McKissick had it put on it was statewide, and registration by party among Republicans was over 80%, close to 90% of everybody said, yeah, that's what we want, twice. So, and Drew is the first chairman that we've had that has pushed the issue to try to actually get something done. So you just keep pushing, try to move the ball.
Exactly. You just got to. You can't let it get pigeonholed. You just can't let it just stagnate. It needs to come up every year. It needs to come up not just during election time. The scripture said during the time before war, seek counsel. That's scripture. During the time of peace, prepare for war. When there's not an election, start preparing for these things. Start pushing these things, and don't stop until you get it done. You hadn't gotten where you've gotten by quitting and giving up. And you just keep on doing.
I would add one thing to what Alan said. He said we were one of the most conservative counties. We are the most Republican county in the state, right here. And we are a one-party county. And if you ever get tired of being the lone Republican down in where you live, we'd be glad to have you.
Okay.
And you will blend into the crowd here, because President Trump got 72%. It's actually 73% of the vote here last time.
Okay. I didn't ask for this. But since y'all threw it in my face, allow me to embrace it. I heard that y'all are the most conservative party in the state. Am I correct?
Yay. Yes. Does
Then-
anybody else have a question?
No, hold on a second. Let me finish it.
Oh,
Then
I'm sorry.
I heard.
Didn't mean to cut you off.
Now this is black folks talk. This is black folks talking here now. I'm talking about black. I'm talking on behalf of black folks. I always was told them Republicans got money. So when I leave here, I know that I'm gonna have to open up the back of my truck to carry all the money with me because of these conservative Republicans.
I'll tell you what, I'll kick it off. $100 from me for your campaign.
We got 100, 100, 100, 200, 200, 200, 200, 300, 300, 300, 400, 400, 400. Now, any other question? Yeah, I love to laugh. I read an article about 30 years ago, and to all of you that I'm 65 years old now, by the grace of God. I'm the 7th of 12 children. We have buried 5 brothers. Why God allowed me to stay, I don't know, and I don't pick light of it. I just thank God every day for being alive.
Amen.
And I say that to say this is that when you come to doing what you're supposed to be doing, just be good about it and be honest about it, and God will bless you. Any other question before I take my seat? Oh, I heard 100 Republicans. God bless you.
One more time. I'm gonna pin a rose on myself this time. I picked a good guy this time. Was I right at the beginning when I introduced him? He's just fun to listen to. Every time I hear you talk, I put it like this: we've had umpteen speakers up here, and they're all nice people, and they're all good people. And 99.9% of the time, they're politicians. But you hold my attention, and I enjoy listening to you speak pretty much better than anybody we've had. So I really appreciate you coming.
I was trying to get the $100.
It's fun. Well, I don't mean to embarrass you or oversell it. I just want you to know I enjoy you, and I really appreciate you coming. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Ty, you said something that, well, on a personal note, you said you speak to everybody. My dad passed away 2 years ago today. And if you run into anybody that knows my dad, Bruce Tate, or that knew him, the first thing they're going to say is, he spoke to everybody. He talked to everybody. And he was the kind of guy, if you came to the house to visit, when you left, he would walk you out to the car and walk beside the car talking to you through the window as you left. He loved people. And my middle name is Bruce, and I got it honest, this mouth and talking. I am his son. But it reminded me of my dad. He was that way. He was the guy that, I said, Daddy, why does it take you 45 minutes to go into the bank and cash a check? Well, I had to talk to my friends. But anyway, that's a good way to be. And I never met a stranger. And I think we share that affliction. But back to business. Our next meeting will be the last Thursday in October. And as far as I know now, we'll be at the Wesleyan Church, right, John? We were going to be there tonight originally. It's another place that's big enough where we can spread out and do the social distancing like we did here tonight. But they had a wedding reception come up, and naturally, two weddings this weekend. And naturally, people that go to church there get first dibs on the facility. So I can't argue with that. So kind of last minute that we came here, this is a wonderful place, a beautiful place the Robinson family has put together here, and I really like it. But like I said, next meeting will be the last last Thursday in October. I haven't spoken to him. I'm not trying to put him on the spot. My intention is to invite Davey Hyatt. We had spoke earlier, and he said to invite him when they weren't in session. So in October, I wouldn't think they would be. So if Rex maybe can help me with that and get word to him. So Representative Davey Hyatt, tentatively, he'll have the invitation. And like I said, I'm not putting him on the spot. I have no idea what the man's plans are the last Thursday in October. He could have something where he can't come. But we're going to invite him. If not him, I'll find somebody. But I got a feeling they're going to have a tough act to follow after tonight. So God bless you all, and thank you for coming. And one last thing. I've never seen, I'm not trying to call people out, but there's faces. If this is your first time here, raise your hand. Good grief. Yay. Please come back, bring a friend, and next time, you've got my word. This is on me, out of my pocket. Pizza and Cokes and tea, I'll put it in the back of the room at the church. So come and eat some pizza and drink a drink. Be glad to have you, glad you came. And don't be bashful about it. You're among friends. So if you got a question or you want to make a comment, never feel bashful about standing up and speaking your mind. Please come back and join us. Yes, ma'am. Well, come back and stay in touch with Ben. He'll help you. Stay in touch with Ben. And I saw you go out and talk to Travis when he first got here. There you go. Good advice. Yes, ma'am, Miss Esther. Here.
I found something last week that you might be interested in. I subscribe to a newsletter called Intercessors for America. And they have put together a map on the internet. And if you just go to Intercessors for America, there's a map. And they have listed all of the registered Republicans on that map. And you just punch it, and a name, the first name, Larry or Don or whoever, and what they want you to do is pray that those Christians that haven't been voting will vote this time. Maybe somebody knows the statistic about that, but there's thousands and thousands and thousands of Christian Americans that are not voting. And so this would be a good way. You know, we can't all knock on doors. We can't all be poll workers, but we can all pray. And this is a good way to pray.
And not to tell anybody else how to pray, I always end with God's will be done. Yes, Bethany. Bonnie. Oh, yeah, okay, Bonnie. I'm 65 now. I have an excuse. Yes.
I just wanted to say that I might be the only Jew in the Pickens County Republican Party. I have been a Republican my entire life. My daddy was an appointee to the Small Business Administration by President Nixon. So I am red, red, red. I don't understand how any Jewish person I know can in good conscience vote Democrat, but I mean to tell you, I am using your speech from the NAACP meeting and see if it works for me. Thank you.
We're glad to have you. You know, I'm talking out of ignorance here, but see, now I was raised on, Al will relate to this. I grew up at Rock Springs Church listening to Preacher Couch when I was a little boy, Homer Couch. And I was taught to believe that the Jewish people are God's chosen people, and for that you've always got my respect. As soon as you say a Jew, I'm like, yes, ma'am. You know, so I'm not going to argue with God's chosen people. Well, I take that back. I used to work with a guy, Balaban, who was my broker, freight broker, and me and him used to argue all the time in fun. But Leon, one last thing from you. Do you have a place where these folks can go online and donate, a PayPal account or a website or somewhere where they can go hit a donate button?
We're putting all that together. We have Cash App. I'm a Cash App person. I got some cards. I got plenty of stuff. I got some cards. I can go to my truck and get some more. And got my mailing address. Leon went for Senate. Those that want to write a check, Leon went for Senate. P.O. Box 522 Sumter 29151. And you all know Sumter's in South Carolina. I got to tell y'all this. I sell cars part-time. And this young lady was in Sumter. And I said to her, I said, sweetheart, and darling all the time. I said, sweetheart, what part of Sumter you live in? She said, South Carolina. So I'll try to make that clear now. Sumter, South Carolina. And you can look at me on Facebook. I also did the governor's inauguration. I was the person that did the invocation at the governor's inauguration. You go on Facebook, look me up on Facebook. We stream live every Sunday. We never not stop having church through this whole pandemic. We never stop having church in church. And I fuss about preachers. How do you talk about God and you scared of corona? I trust God. Am I cautious? Yes. Do I take the right precaution? Yes. But we cannot live in fear, ladies and gentlemen. We got to live. You can't shut this country down again. It just can't happen. You just can't do it. No, we just can't afford to. But Leon went for Senate. I take you, and I'm not. I'm gonna have to cap it. Y'all just don't write a check over $1,000. That's just don't do it. I'm not. I don't want you. I'm not gonna lie, y'all do. But up to $1,000, we good. We good.
Well, before you leave, John, forgive me for volunteering you, but if you'll talk to John, if you need help setting up a website or a donation button, or he's did it for me. He can do it for you. Trust me. And then I'll be glad to put it all across you guys have any problem with me sending out an email to all of y'all like I did tonight for this to let you know how to donate to Leon? Is everybody, can I get raise your hand, amen on that one? We'll get it to help you get it together, whatever you don't have, and we'll put it out. And I want to help the man. I think we need somebody like him at the Senate. I think he would add a little life to the Senate floor, don't you? No doubt. The lady is standing in the back with a Trump shirt on, giving me the eye. So I'm going to let her have the microphone.
I'm Cheryl Johnson. I live in Pickens County, too. This is the first time I've been here, but I'm with the Victory Campaign with Ben. So if you want to contact with me, too, because I live here in Pickens, to help him with signing up to volunteer, you're welcome to contact me, too, and I can help you as well.
Well, thank you a lot. Send me, if you've got Ben's got my contact information. If you send me hers, then I can kind of aim people at both of you. How about that? Because how many people, volunteers, would you say I've sent you? 15 to 20? Like emails? No, it's like 75. Is it that many now? I haven't been, John's been keeping up with it closer than I have, but it's been. Yeah, okay, great. It's amazing to me how many people in Pickens County are getting fired up and want to help. And that's the reason I pointed Esther out earlier. There's a lot of people that have never got involved before that are getting involved now. Well, I started to wind this thing down, and y'all wouldn't let me. So I am going to let you go home for your dinner or to start your weekend. And God bless you all, and thank you for coming. This was fun. I enjoyed myself here tonight. I hope y'all did. Come back and see us again.